Why do men usually ignore me? There would be so many reasons they don't engage. Maybe it's partially local. Maybe you have a reputation. Maybe it's resting bitch face. We could honestly speculate all day. The problem is without knowing you or how you interact, we really can't build a good hypothesis. Just throwing things against the wall and not even able to see what sticks. I read it and I think it's something you gotta figure out about yourself. If it's not because of the energy you emit to your surroundings, cause it's very unfakeable. Maybe it's your looks, your proportions, height or weight, hair color and haircuts, your makeup, tattoos, piercings, glasses or gadgets if wore, even skin tone. The way you dress, the way you walk and carry yourself, the way you smell, the way you look at people, the way you stand, the way you may sound and how you're heard when you speak. They can all affect your relations with your opposite sex. I used to get ghosted for decades. And finally my therapist told me that it's like I'm shooting the words out of my mouth. So I figured out that they felt I'm too furious due to my speaking tone and I sounded angry even when I was saying nice things to them. I fixed it and bingo. Problem got solved. Are you actually invisible to men in general or just invisible to men you want to be visible to? Or have you convinced yourself that you're invisible? You mentioned being socially awkward in one of your prior posts, and as someone who used to be extremely socially awkward, I was able to convince myself a lot of things that turned out to be untrue. After looking through your post history, I see a lot about shame and sex-related embarrassment. My top guess is you're not giving off the vibes you think you are. Inner dialogue projects outwards. Unless you're an amazing, trained actor or a sociopath. If you walk through life insecure and fill in shame, i.e., surveying the room of men actively noticing, wondering why none are going to approach you, I assume your face isn't really resting bitch face, but still giving an expression that's not approachable, whether it's a little morose or something else. The way to be more approachable is more obvious than you'd think, but you can't focus on it. You need to just be actively engaged in your setting and what you're doing. A person dancing by themselves in the middle of the dance floor is more approachable than the person sipping punch in the corner. And both are more approachable than the person hiding out by the bathrooms. It's not to say you need to dance for attention, but the point is that the person actively and positively engaging in whatever activity is the easiest to approach. You putting yourself out there to initiate the conversations is a great way to try and fix whatever is going on. Just remember, your goal shouldn't be, make myself likable to more people. It should be, show people who I am. That's it. No motives. People pick up on motives and motives are off-putting. Put yourself out there. Just show people who you are. If people are interested, great. But that's really all you can do. Especially in a work setting. Remember, everyone is just there to make money. Weird hunch. But are you fairly tall? My guess is you're at least 5 feet 10, 5 feet 11 inches. If not 6 feet. It sounds like you have tall girl syndrome. Tall girls often slouch or try to make their bodies minimal from habit, thus coming off shy or closed off. Clothes tend to not fit tall girls quite right, making it pretty much certain they'll be picking at their outfit or their shirt will be awkwardly short. The world isn't made for tall people, so there's a lot of ducking under things and sitting awkwardly on short chairs. It's weird because you wouldn't think it, but being tall as a woman can give a counterintuitive wallflower effect. And unless you grew all at once, you've probably been tall your whole life. Explaining why it's always been this way. My best friend is very tall and has talked a lot about it. Then there's also the gendered issue of height and dating. We talk a lot about short men, but tall women don't exactly have it easy unless they go out of their way to look like a 5 feet 11 inches sex. Bomb. And even then, my tall friends complain of only being a fetish category and generally not finding genuine dates. I think just as some women don't want to date a man shorter than them, so do a lot of men not want to date women taller than them. Unfortunately, it also seems that many men don't try to speak to women they don't want to date or find sexually attractive regardless of the situation. My guess is you are a tall flower. It would also explain why making woman friends is easy for you. You're pretty, but non-threatening, friendly, but not socially overwhelming with man drama. It genuinely sounds like there's nothing wrong with you except maybe a growing awkward insecurity because of this ongoing problem. Sorry if you're 5 feet even and I'm way off base, but you basically wrote verbatim what my best friend has told me over the years. There are a lot of reasons, TBH, but to list a few, people in your age group and above tend to already have their social circles figured out, and it's hard to add new members. I just turned 32, and I probably haven't made a new actual friend since I was 25. Men are becoming increasingly aware of Me Too situations and coming off as a creep, so they tend to stick to themselves or other men more. Men could be ignoring you because they are married, in a long-term relationship, and so don't need any kind of female companionship. I know plenty of men that don't have any female friends outside of their partner. It's pretty common. I don't know what you look like, but if you look your age or older, that will make a lot of men just flat out ignore you if they are only interested in dating or sex. I think that's a hard truth for a lot of women, but a lot of men, not even chauvinistic ones, are not interested in older women, especially if they potentially want children in the future. It's hard because nobody here knows you. Maybe your personality sucks, or maybe your shyness just permeates the whole room, and again, older people don't really care. I really sympathize with you because when I was younger I liked just being the lone wolf, being in my own bubble and doing my own thing. But now, being in my 30s and single and all my friends having partners and children, it's genuinely hard for me to connect with new people. I came to Reddit to have the nerd conversations I always wanted growing up, but it's honestly 80% of people just butting heads or 10-minute conversations that don't lead anywhere. I'm willing to take a stab at this question, and obviously, there will be inaccuracies as I only have your post to work off. So please don't judge my answer too harshly. Tears of joy. Firstly, even with interpersonal interactions, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, so to speak. That doesn't mean one must always be the life of the party to be noticed, but, and depending on the age of the man you are talking about, they're likely always going to notice the outgoing, confident one before they try and lock eyes with the quiet one in the corner. And confidence isn't one of those things you're either born with or you aren't. While some do naturally have it, I can almost guarantee a lot of them follow the fake it till you make it model. 2. As to why, as you say, most men don't seem to approach you. What kind of man are you hoping will approach you? Are you turned on by gym freaks but spend your day in the library and don't know the first thing about lifting? Are you into the quiet, reserved, studious type but keep going out to clubs? When you try to have a conversation with someone, do you get so flustered you can't speak? Or do you tend to go so deep into a particular subject to where you miss the man's eyes glaze over? How do you dress? And that's not a question for me to argue that you necessarily have to wear spaghetti strap tops and shorts that hug the lower curve of your ass to get noticed. But if you dress in clothes that are 3 sizes too big all the time with the argument that it's comfortable, you won't get too many second looks. Trust me, men actually do like girls who dress down sometimes. Just not all the time. We want you to enjoy how clothes make you look. And we certainly want you to dress in such a way that if you enjoy when we look at you, You dress yourself in a fashion that shows off whatever it is you like about your body. Do you wear makeup? Is it the right makeup regimen for your skin? I'm not a makeup guru, but I do know that the correct makeup application can absolutely enhance your natural beauty without overdoing things. Just as many men appreciate the natural beauty of a woman as the ones that enjoy the fully dolled up look of a Japanese geisha. Apologies if this was long. I also hope it was helpful constructive criticism and did not come off as rude. You must be giving off some kind of vibe that you don't want attention. It might be something as simple as not looking directly in their eyes. Maybe you were told it was too bold or something, but it's very off-putting and gives a message not to approach. You got some good answers on the Ask Men post that was deleted. I hope you saw them. Upshot is that no one can really tell you for sure unless they know you. Anything else would just be a wild-ass guess and could be totally wrong. That said, my first thought is appearance, looks, attractiveness. Which is a big deal for men. Have you tried to, and had the courage to, post yourself on Rate Me or a similar sub to get feedback? And, of course, as was said on the other post, you ought to consider the fact that men are constantly told not to bother women in public, that women don't want unwanted attention. Men who approach women in public are creepy, rapists, etc. etc. You might consider the fact that you could be just fine, and that you live in a world where your sisters are telling men things that are actively harming you and your well-being. Just a thought. A list of random reasons. 1. You're ugly. 2. You're hot. 3. You wait for men to approach you in a time when men are discouraged from approaching women. 4. You are boring. 5. You don't actively partake in conversations. Expect men to lead. 6. You are awkward. 7. Your breath stinks. 8. You seem intimidating. 9. You are an outlier and have nothing in common with people around you. 10. You have a non-hetero energy, look. So men think you are not interested in them sexually, romantically. 11. You look like a stereotype of someone that would dislike men. 12. Your voice is unpleasant. 13. You are annoying. 14. You ooze desperation. Obviously not all of these are negative. I don't want to be someone who says, change this crucial thing about you to become attractive to men. But it's at least good to understand why someone may not want to approach you even for formal courtesy. A question for you. What is your role in women-dominated groups? You said you had always had female friends and you should be able to understand your social position based on those groups. Being extremely attractive could be a potential reason. I tend to not even bother talking or getting the attention of women I know are out of my league. If they initiate conversation with me first, then I will be more confident in talking to them. But I don't think I have ever been the first to say anything. Based on your post history and the questions you ask, is it possible you have a mild form of autism? Do you possibly have difficulty with eye contact, body language? It's possible that your body language is either fearful or very closed. People may be mistake it for hostility or a keep away from me face, or maybe your body language accidentally conveys that you are uncomfortable and people, particularly men, don't want to make a woman feel uncomfortable for obvious reasons. It's obviously impossible to say without interacting with someone yourself, but that would be my uneducated blind guess. Woman shrugging. Can only speak for me. My reasons that I've disengaged with a woman. She gives off, leave me alone vibes. Do you come off welcoming? Do you have headphones in? Do you say hi with a smile? Do you use a pleasant tone? Do you motion for the guy to sit next to you and talk? These are things both genders do to signal their receptiveness to conversation. She may seem pleasant, but she kills the convo with obvious signs of disinterest. Do you listen and Engage when a guy is talking. If he drops a hint about his trip to Spain, do you ask about his trip to Spain? Where he went? What he did? Guys use things like that to gauge the other party's interest. In short, are you giving in the convo? Are you giving interest and attention? Or are you just focusing on what you want to say and he's asking all the questions while you play on your phone? She doesn't show interest in maintaining contact. Do you initiate texts? Do you leave guys on read for hours? Ignore texts? Or ghost them? Guys aren't going to reach out if they think they're harassing you. I've stopped texting friends because of this. This comment may or may not get buried, but it may just be your vibe. Sure, you're nice, but that's the bare minimum. Lots of people are nice. Nice equals invisible. But are you captivating? Do you come across as interesting and exciting? Does it take you time to open up? What are your conversations like? Possibly boring. People don't link to small talk, it's awkward and forced. Huge generalization, but I feel like women are more willing to small talk with other women and men. With men, there's just more common ground societally. Also, it may be who you are surrounded by. You may be consistently putting yourself in groups where you are the wallflower and other people are dominating the conversation, more outgoing. You may not consciously be realizing that you are doing all these things, but start paying attention. You may be coming across more reserved, boring, and quiet than you think. May sound absurd, but your vibe might be the issue. There are people who give an unapproachable, threatening aura, some sort of instinct to not mess with certain individuals. But without visual info, I can't tell for real. Just give random hypotheses. Not so attractive women are usually easy to approach. Ever saw the Disney princess girls who even attract wild animals towards them in parks or such? If I identify a feminist, I'm not approaching no matter how attractive she is. They see men despectfully. Try approaching them. What if they are having the same doubts you are? What are you trying to talk to these men about? Men don't approach me either. But they don't have an issue engaging in conversation with me. I typically don't walk up to people and say hello and then ask them questions. That feels like an interview and could explain why they want to get away. I hate it when people do that to me. It's uncomfortable. We have no idea since we don't know you. But you are talking about a chronic social problem since you were a young person. The thing jumping up and down in the back of my head is this person on the spectrum? It is misdiagnosed in women all the time. It presents differently in women than men. That is a gentle way of saying, yes, you are probably the issue. But not necessarily that it is your fault or that you should feel blame for it. You have a pattern of behavior that is undesired. Work with a professional on this. We, here at Reddit, have no friggin' clue about you. I only thought, spectrum. Because of how you worded your sentences and that social dysfunction is often the thing we notice. First with autistic women. Realistically, I have no idea. And neither does anyone else here. Well, for around the last 20 years men have been told that if you do anything to a woman and she takes it the wrong way, they can be held legally liable. Have heard many men use that as justification for leaving them alone, especially in a professional setting. Personally, I think that's a terrible idea, but it is what others have done. If you're not conventionally attractive, that can also dissuade men from talking to you unless strictly necessary. Generally, men only approach women they find at least something a little attractive about, or if they require to interact with them. Are forever alone women.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.